We're getting chilling new details on the abduction of dozens of Christians by ISIS. And as terror threats pop up daily, a funding fight threatens to shut down the Department of Homeland Security. Let's bring in our national security commentator, Mike Rogers, the former Republican congressman. He served as chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. We're also joined by former Congresswoman Jane Harman. She was the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. She's now president and CEO of the Wilson Center here in Washington. These U.S.-led coalition airstrikes against ISIS, it certainly hasn't curbed their terror appetite, at least any indication I've seen of you.
No, and what if you listen to the president's words, they're crafted pretty carefully about stopping their advance. And so what that means is that we haven't degraded their capabilities both inside Syria and Iraq.
Why are they going after Christians right now?
For the very reason we're talking about it right now. This is huge PR value for them, and it invokes fear. And the one thing that they want is they want the Western civilized nations to have that feeling of fear and hopelessness. That's why they're taking Christians, having very public. I fear for the lives of the Christians that they have. I have a feeling it will be very public and very brutal.
Because these aren't, Jane Harman, these aren't just Christian men. These are women and children, too, who have been abducted. 90 Christians abducted in Syria.
Well, their claim is that their, quote, religious beliefs don't tolerate people who are other than their form of Muslim. There's also PR value in their targeting non-Muslims, because that's a message to the West that they're targeting the West, and that obviously is in their sights.
You know, what's worrisome also, in the midst of all these terror threats, there's this fight now whether or not the Department of Homeland Security should be funded. You just left Congress. Yeah. You're probably pretty happy you're not there anymore. But how do you explain this? Because that seems like a no-brainer. Don't even, fool around with funding the Department of Homeland Security.
I say I miss the clowns, but not the circus. And what we have here, I think, is exactly that. Once the court decided they were going to take that position of stopping the executive...
The federal judge in Texas.
Absolutely.
He put all that executive order that the president put forward on hold.
And I thought that was a great opportunity for the House to say, great, now the court has it. That was their position all along. Both Republican conferences were saying that's what they wanted to happen. It did happen. I think they should go ahead and fund it and follow the court procedure.
They will fund it by Friday night.
I think they will fund it. I think it makes no sense not to. The question is for how long. The latest rumors are that Mitch McConnell will put a continuing resolution on the floor through this fiscal year. That's September. That's how long the rest of the government is funded.
But that happens a lot, these CRs that keep the government running. That's not unusual.
No, but the rest of the government has an authorized budget. This is less good. It prevents the department from doing things like stronger border enforcement on the southern border, which many Republicans really want to have, and they can't fund it. It also demoralizes the department if the CRs are very short. So hopefully that won't happen again. What we need is everyone bringing his or her A game to mall security and U.S. security.
Is this al-Shabaab threat to go after the Mall of America in Minnesota, is that real, or is that just publicity on their part?
Hyperventilating here, too. I think we overreacted to that. They have the aspiration, meaning they want to do it. They would have loved to inspired someone to do it, but they really haven't shown any capability.
But they can inspire somebody in Minneapolis, St. Paul, who watches their websites. They're all pretty sophisticated in social media to go out there and do something.
But I've been to the Mall of the Americas, the largest mall on the planet Earth, I think, or maybe any other planet. It has its own climate. It also has its own security force, and it's very well prepared, as is the Department of Homeland Security, against threats. But there's no such thing, as Mike Rogers, my brother in crime, will tell you, there's no such thing as 100% security. And some clown can get in somewhere where we are weaker and attack us.
What do you make of these mysterious drones now flying over Paris, over the Eiffel Tower, over the U.S. Embassy? The French, they don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going on?
No, and I don't think the French do either. And I think this is the real risk with the explosion of these commercial drones. You saw it at the White House. This is going to change security posture in places like the White House. It's certainly going to change the security posture at high-profile
monuments. They're so easily accessible, these drones now, and it comes on the heels of what happened in Paris a month ago with that attack on the magazine and then that kosher supermarket.
I'm very, very worried about this. Total erosion of privacy. I mean, they can dwell over our backyards. And maybe in some future time, listen to our conversations in our homes. I think it was a bad move for the FAA to allow our airspace to be open to unregulated drones.
We're going to have to look at this very seriously. And we remember, even a drone that gets across on a highway, if it's going 5 miles an hour and you're going 50 miles an hour, somebody's going to end up
We
dead.
remember a few weeks ago, a drone actually landed on the White House.
Right.
You know, that's pretty worrisome when you think about what's going on. We got to leave it there, guys. Don't go too far away. Coming up,